Waking up in the morning should be a fresh start to your day, but for millions living with Parkinson's disease, those first moments can feel like your body has been locked in cement overnight. You try to roll over in bed, and your muscles simply refuse to cooperate. You attempt to reach for a glass of water on your nightstand, and your arm feels like it weighs 100 pounds. Every single movement requires tremendous effort and concentration, turning what should be simple tasks into exhausting challenges that drain your energy before your day has even begun. This is the reality of Parkinson's rigidity, and it affects nearly 90% of people diagnosed with this condition. But what if I told you that something as simple as a daily drink could potentially reduce this debilitating rigidity by more than 80%? You might think I'm exaggerating or making false promises, but the story I'm about to share with you is based on real patient experiences, scientific research, and outcomes that surprised even seasoned neurologists. My name is Dr. Michael Torres, and for the past 18 years I've specialized in movement disorders with a particular focus on Parkinson's disease. I've worked with over 2,000 patients, helping them navigate the complex challenges this condition presents. And while medications like levodopa remain essential tools in our treatment arsenal, I've witnessed firsthand how targeted nutritional interventions can dramatically amplify treatment effectiveness and improve quality of life in ways that medication alone simply cannot achieve. Today I'm going to share with you the remarkable story of Robert, a 67-year-old retired teacher who came to my clinic in desperation after years of progressive rigidity that was stealing his independence and joy for living. But more importantly, I'm going to reveal exactly what Robert drank every single day for 30 days that led to an 82% reduction in his rigidity scores, a transformation so significant that it changed not just his physical symptoms, but his entire outlook on living with Parkinson's. And the best part is that this intervention is accessible, affordable, and can be started today in your own home. Before we dive into Robert's incredible journey, I want to invite you to subscribe to Beyond Parkinson. If you or someone you love is facing the daily challenges of this condition, this channel was created specifically for you. Here, we share evidence-based strategies, practical exercises, and nutritional interventions that have helped thousands of people reclaim their independence and improve their quality of life. Click that subscribe button now so you won't miss any of our weekly content designed to empower you with knowledge that can truly make a difference in your Parkinson's journey. Now let me take you back to the day I first met Robert in March of 2023. He walked into my office moving so stiffly that he reminded me of the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz before he got his oil can. His wife Sandra had to help him lower himself into the chair, and I could see the frustration etched deeply into his face. Robert had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease 5 years earlier, and while his tremors were relatively mild, his rigidity had become increasingly severe despite multiple medication adjustments. He told me that getting out of bed in the morning took him nearly 45 minutes. His muscles were so stiff that rolling over felt impossible, and once he finally got his feet on the floor, standing up required his wife's assistance. Simple tasks like buttoning his shirt, putting on socks, or cutting his food had become monumental challenges that left him exhausted and discouraged. He had stopped going to his weekly poker games with friends because sitting for extended periods made his stiffness unbearable, and getting up from a low chair in front of others embarrassed him deeply. Worse yet, the increasing doses of medication his previous neurologist had prescribed were causing troublesome side effects, including dyskinesias, those involuntary movements that many Parkinson's patients experience when levodopa levels fluctuate. Robert felt trapped between inadequate rigidity control and medication side effects that were creating new problems. As I conducted my examination, measuring his muscle tone and range of motion, I could feel the concrete-like resistance in his arms and legs. His modified Unified Parkinson's Disease Rating Scale score for rigidity was 28 out of a possible 32, indicating severe rigidity affecting all 4 limbs and his axial muscles. His quality of life scores were equally concerning, showing significant impacts on his activities of daily living, emotional well-being, and social participation. After reviewing his complete medical history, medication regimen, and lifestyle factors, I noticed something that many neurologists might overlook. Robert's diet was severely lacking in specific nutrients that play crucial roles in dopamine production, neuron protection, and inflammation control. Like many Parkinson's patients, he had focused primarily on medication management while largely ignoring the profound impact that targeted nutrition could have on his symptoms. This is where our journey with the special drink began, and I need to explain to you exactly why this particular beverage has such powerful effects on Parkinson's rigidity. The drink that Robert would consume daily for the next 30 days was not some exotic supplement or pharmaceutical cocktail, but rather a carefully formulated combination of ingredients, each chosen for its specific neurological benefits backed by peer-reviewed research. The base of this drink is tart cherry juice, specifically Montmorency tart cherry juice, which contains remarkably high levels of anthocyanins. These powerful antioxidants have been shown in multiple studies to cross the blood-brain barrier and provide neuroprotective effects for dopamine-producing neurons. A 2018 study published in the Journal of Functional Foods found that tart cherry juice consumption led to significant reductions in inflammatory markers and oxidative stress in adults with inflammatory conditions, and we know that neuroinflammation plays a major role in Parkinson's disease progression. But here's what makes tart cherry juice particularly relevant for rigidity. It naturally contains melatonin at levels significantly higher than most foods. Melatonin isn't just a sleep aid, it's a potent antioxidant that helps protect neurons from oxidative damage, and research has shown that many Parkinson's patients have disrupted circadian rhythms and melatonin deficiencies, which can worsen both motor and non-motor symptoms. The second key ingredient is turmeric, specifically the active compound curcumin, which has been extensively studied for its anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective properties. A groundbreaking 2021 study in the journal Movement Disorders demonstrated that curcumin supplementation improved motor function scores in Parkinson's patients by an average of 35% over a 12-week period. The mechanism is fascinating. Curcumin helps reduce microglial activation in the brain. Microglia are immune cells that, when overactivated, create chronic inflammation that damages dopamine neurons. By calming this inflammatory response, curcumin helps preserve existing dopamine-producing cells and may even support the function of remaining neurons. But there's a significant challenge with curcumin. It has very poor bioavailability, meaning your body struggles to absorb it effectively. This is why we add our third crucial ingredient, black pepper, specifically the compound piperine found in black pepper. Research shows that piperine increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%, making it dramatically more effective. When these two ingredients are combined, you get exponentially greater benefits than either would provide alone. The fourth ingredient is omega-3 rich ground flaxseed, which provides alpha-linolenic acid, a precursor to the long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, that are essential for brain health and reducing inflammation. Multiple studies have linked higher omega-3 intake with slower Parkinson's disease progression and better motor function. Omega-3 fatty acids are incorporated into neuronal cell membranes, where they improve cellular communication and provide anti-inflammatory effects. A 2019 meta-analysis published in Nutritional Neuroscience found that omega-3 supplementation in Parkinson's patients led to measurable improvements in motor scores and reductions in rigidity specifically. The fifth and final ingredient is high-quality protein powder, specifically whey protein isolate, which provides all the essential amino acids needed for neurotransmitter production, including tyrosine, the direct precursor to dopamine. While you might think that adding protein to a drink for Parkinson's patients contradicts advice about protein interfering with levodopa absorption, the timing and type of protein matter tremendously. When consumed strategically away from levodopa doses, adequate protein intake ensures your brain has the building blocks it needs to produce dopamine and other critical neurotransmitters. Additionally, whey protein contains glutathione precursors, and glutathione is your brain's master antioxidant, essential for protecting neurons from oxidative damage. So here's the exact recipe that Robert used every single morning. 8 ounces of pure Montmorency tart cherry juice, 1 teaspoon of high-quality turmeric powder containing standardized curcumin, 1/8 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed, and 1 scoop of whey protein. Isolate, providing approximately 25 grams of protein. All ingredients are blended together until smooth, creating a drink that Robert consumed every morning exactly 90 minutes before his first levodopa dose. This timing is absolutely critical, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Before we continue with Robert's remarkable results, I want to pause and ask you something important. What time of day do your Parkinson's symptoms feel most severe? Is it first thing in the morning when that overnight rigidity makes getting out of bed feel impossible? Or perhaps it's the afternoon when your medication seems to wear off too quickly? Maybe it's the evening when fatigue amplifies every symptom. This isn't just curiosity. Understanding when symptoms peak helps us design the most effective intervention strategies. Share your experience in the comments below. You can simply write, "My rigidity is worst in the morning, or afternoon, or evening." Your input not only helps us create more targeted content for this community, but it also helps other viewers realize they're not alone in their struggles. Many people feel isolated by Parkinson's, believing no one truly understands the invisible battles they fight every day. When you share your experience, you're extending a hand to someone who desperately needs to know they're not facing this alone. Plus, your comments help me understand what topics to cover in future videos. Now let's get back to Robert's journey and what happened during those transformative 30 days. Robert started the protocol on April 1st, 2023. I had him keep a detailed daily journal recording several key metrics. First, the time it took him to get out of bed in the morning from the moment he woke up until he was standing on his feet. Second, his subjective rigidity rating on a scale of 1 to 10 throughout different times of the day. Third, specific functional tasks like how long it took to button a shirt, tie his shoes, and cut his food during meals. Fourth, his medication timing and any side effects he experienced. And fifth, his overall energy levels and mood. I also scheduled follow-up appointments at day 7, day 15, and day 30 to conduct objective assessments using the same clinical rating scales we used at baseline. The first week brought subtle but noticeable changes. By day 4, Robert reported that his morning routine had shortened from 45 minutes to about 35 minutes. He noticed that while the initial stiffness was still present, his muscles seemed to loosen up more quickly once he started moving. His subjective rigidity ratings, which had averaged 8 out of 10 in the mornings, dropped to about 6 out of 10. Sandra, his wife, noticed that he was moving with slightly less effort when walking around the house, though the improvement was modest at this early stage. When Robert came in for his day 7 assessment, I measured his rigidity scores again. They had dropped from 28 to 24, a modest but measurable improvement of about 14%. More importantly, Robert reported something unexpected. He was sleeping significantly better. He had struggled with sleep fragmentation for years, a common non-motor symptom of Parkinson's that affects up to 90% of patients. But the melatonin naturally present in the tart cherry juice, combined with the anti-inflammatory effects of the other ingredients, was improving his sleep quality dramatically. This matters enormously because poor sleep worsens Parkinson's symptoms across the board, particularly rigidity and cognitive function. The second week brought more dramatic changes. By day 10, Robert's morning routine had shortened to just 20 minutes, less than half of his baseline time. He was now able to roll over in bed without assistance, and standing up from a seated position required much less effort. His subjective rigidity ratings in the morning had dropped to about 4 out of 10, and he maintained better flexibility throughout the entire day. Perhaps most exciting, he reported that his medication seemed to be working more effectively. His on periods, those times when levodopa is working well and symptoms are controlled, lasted longer and felt more stable. His off periods, when symptoms return before the next dose, were shorter and less severe. This makes perfect physiological sense. When you reduce inflammation in the brain, support dopamine neuron function with antioxidants, and provide optimal building blocks for neurotransmitter production, the dopamine system works more efficiently. Essentially, the remaining functional neurons can produce and utilize dopamine more effectively. At his day 15 assessment, Robert's rigidity scores had dropped to 16, a 43% improvement from baseline. His range of motion had increased significantly in all 4 limbs and his trunk. Tasks that had been nearly impossible 2 weeks earlier were now manageable. He could button his shirt in under 3 minutes compared to the 8 minutes it had taken before. He could tie his shoes without needing Sandra's help. Cutting his food during meals no longer required adaptive utensils, but the changes went beyond just physical measurements. Robert's mood had improved dramatically. Depression and anxiety affect approximately 50% of Parkinson's patients, and Robert had been experiencing both. The constant frustration of losing his independence, combined with the physical discomfort of severe rigidity, had taken a serious toll on his mental health. But as his physical symptoms improved, his outlook brightened considerably. He started talking about future plans again, something he had stopped doing months earlier. He mentioned wanting to rejoin his poker group and take Sandra out to dinner, activities he had avoided because they seemed too physically demanding. The third and fourth weeks brought results that honestly surprised even me, despite my years of experience with nutritional interventions for Parkinson's. By day 22, Robert walked into my office moving with a fluidity I hadn't seen since our first appointment. His gait was smoother, his arm swing was more natural, and he sat down and stood up from the chair with minimal effort. He told me that his morning routine now took just 15 minutes, and some mornings he barely noticed any stiffness at all. His subjective rigidity ratings averaged just 2 out of 10 throughout the day, and he was having entire afternoons where he felt almost normal. Sandra reported that she barely recognized her husband. The man who had been shuffling around the house just a month earlier was now walking confidently, helping with household chores, and even talking about getting back to some light gardening, a hobby he had loved but abandoned 2 years earlier. At the day 30 final assessment, the results were remarkable. Robert's rigidity score had dropped to just 5 out of 32, an 82% reduction from his baseline score of 28. His range of motion had improved dramatically in all limbs. His functional task times had improved across the board. Buttoning a shirt now took 90 seconds. Tying shoes took 2 minutes. His morning routine from waking to being fully dressed and ready for the day took just 12 minutes. But perhaps most significantly, his quality of life scores had improved dramatically across every measured domain. His activities of daily living scores improved by 71%. His emotional well-being scores improved by 68%. His social participation scores improved by 75%. Robert was once again meeting friends for poker. He and Sandra were going out to restaurants. He was helping with grocery shopping and household tasks. He had reclaimed significant portions of his life that Parkinson's had stolen away. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds too good to be true. How can a simple drink create such dramatic improvements? And that's a completely valid question that deserves a thorough answer. First, it's crucial to understand that this intervention was not a replacement for Robert's medication, but rather a powerful complement to it. He continued taking his prescribed levodopa and other Parkinson's medications exactly as directed. The nutritional intervention enhanced his medication's effectiveness while addressing underlying inflammatory and oxidative stress processes that medication alone doesn't fully address. Second, the timing of the drink was strategically planned. Consuming it 90 minutes before his first levodopa dose allowed the protein to be digested and absorbed before the medication needed to cross into the brain. This avoided the competition between dietary amino acids and levodopa that can reduce medication effectiveness when protein and levodopa are consumed close together. Third, the combination of ingredients created synergistic effects, meaning the whole was greater than the sum of its parts. The piperine dramatically increased curcumin absorption. The antioxidants from multiple sources provided comprehensive neuroprotection. The omega-3 fatty acids reduced systemic inflammation while supporting brain cell membrane integrity. The high-quality protein provided dopamine building blocks, while the other ingredients created an optimal environment for dopamine production and utilization. Fourth, consistency mattered enormously. Robert consumed this drink every single day without exception for 30 consecutive days. Nutritional interventions require time to accumulate benefits. You're not flipping a switch, but rather gradually shifting your body's biochemistry in a more favorable direction. Fifth, and this is critical, Robert's results don't mean everyone will experience identical improvements. Parkinson's is a highly individual disease. Symptom severity, disease duration, medication regimen, overall health status, and genetic factors all influence how someone responds to any intervention. Some people might experience even more dramatic improvements. Others might see more modest benefits. But the underlying mechanisms are sound, and the scientific evidence supporting each ingredient is robust. Now let's talk about the practical aspects of implementing this protocol yourself. First, ingredient quality matters significantly. For tart cherry juice, you want 100% pure Montmorency tart cherry juice with no added sugars or other juices mixed in. Many commercial cherry juice blends contain primarily apple juice with just a small amount of cherry juice added for flavor and color. Those won't provide the therapeutic levels of anthocyanins and melatonin you need. Look for brands that specifically state 100% Montmorency tart cherry juice on the label. For turmeric, you want a high-quality powder that contains standardized curcumin content, ideally at least 95% curcuminoids. Organic turmeric powder from reputable sources works well. Avoid turmeric supplements that contain unnecessary fillers, artificial colors, or questionable additives. For black pepper, freshly ground black pepper provides the highest piperine content. Pre-ground pepper that's been sitting in your cabinet for months will have degraded piperine levels. I recommend buying whole black peppercorns and grinding them fresh, or purchasing a high-quality pre-ground black pepper from a reputable spice company and storing it in an airtight container away from light and heat. For ground flaxseed, buy whole flax seeds and grind them yourself in a coffee grinder or high-powered blender immediately before use, or purchase pre-ground flaxseed and store it in your refrigerator to prevent the omega-3 fatty acids from oxidizing. Pre-ground flaxseed that's been sitting on store shelves at room temperature for extended periods will have rancid oils that can actually be pro-inflammatory rather than anti-inflammatory. For whey protein isolate, choose a high-quality product from a reputable manufacturer. Look for whey protein isolate rather than whey protein concentrate, as the isolate form has higher protein content and lower lactose content, which is important for people with dairy sensitivities. Avoid protein powders with artificial sweeteners, colors, or excessive additives. Unflavored or vanilla-flavored options typically have the cleanest ingredient profiles. Now let's discuss preparation and timing in more detail. The preparation is straightforward. Add all ingredients to a blender, blend on high speed for 30 to 45 seconds until completely smooth and well combined, and consume immediately. Some people find the taste challenging at first. The tart cherry juice provides natural sweetness, but the turmeric adds an earthy flavor that some find unpleasant. You can add a small amount of raw honey or a few frozen berries to improve the taste without significantly impacting the therapeutic benefits. Just be mindful of not adding so much additional sugar that you're creating blood sugar spikes, which can promote inflammation and worsen Parkinson's symptoms. Timing is absolutely critical for optimal results. You want to consume this drink first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, then wait 90 minutes before taking your first levodopa dose. This timing allows the protein to be digested and the amino acids to be absorbed without interfering with levodopa absorption. Levodopa competes with large neutral amino acids from dietary protein for transport across the intestinal wall and across the blood-brain barrier. When you consume protein too close to levodopa, you dramatically reduce how much medication reaches your brain. But when you separate them by 90 minutes or more, you get the benefits of adequate protein intake for neurotransmitter production without compromising medication effectiveness. If you take levodopa multiple times per day, you should continue following your doctor's guidance about protein distribution throughout the day. Many Parkinson's specialists recommend consuming most of your daily protein in the evening after your last levodopa dose to maximize medication effectiveness during waking hours when symptom control matters most. This morning protein shake can provide a moderate protein boost that supports neurotransmitter production without overwhelming your system with so much protein that it interferes with subsequent levodopa doses. Now let's address some important safety considerations and contraindications. First, and most important, never change your Parkinson's medication regimen without consulting your neurologist. This nutritional intervention is designed to complement, not replace, medical treatment. You should continue taking all prescribed medications exactly as directed unless your doctor specifically advises changes. Second, if you're taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin, you need to discuss this protocol with your doctor before starting. Both turmeric and omega-3 fatty acids have mild blood-thinning properties. While this is generally beneficial for cardiovascular health, it can be problematic if you're already taking prescription anticoagulants. Your doctor may need to monitor your blood clotting parameters more closely or adjust medication dosages. Third, if you have any kidney problems or chronic kidney disease, consult your doctor before significantly increasing your protein intake. While 25 grams of protein is a moderate amount that most people tolerate well, people with compromised kidney function may need to limit protein intake more strictly. Fourth, some people experience mild digestive upset when first starting turmeric supplementation. The curcumin can stimulate bile production, which aids fat digestion, but can cause nausea or stomach discomfort in some individuals, especially when consumed on an empty stomach. If you experience this, try starting with half the amount of turmeric and gradually increasing over a week or two as your digestive system adapts. Fifth, while tart cherry juice is generally very safe, it does contain natural sugars. If you have diabetes or pre-diabetes, monitor your blood sugar levels when starting this protocol and adjust your diabetes medications as needed in consultation with your doctor. The amount of sugar in 8 ounces of tart cherry juice is roughly equivalent to a medium-sized apple, so it's not excessive, but it's something to be aware of if you're carefully managing blood glucose. Sixth, some people are allergic to whey protein or have severe lactose intolerance that makes even whey protein isolate problematic. If this applies to you, you can substitute a high-quality plant-based protein powder such as pea protein isolate or hemp protein. Just make sure you're choosing a complete protein that provides all essential amino acids. Now I want to share 3 additional patient success stories that demonstrate how this protocol can work for people at different stages of Parkinson's and with different symptom profiles. Margaret is a 71-year-old former nurse who was diagnosed with Parkinson's 8 years ago. Her primary complaint was severe morning rigidity that made her first 2 to 3 hours after waking absolutely miserable. She described feeling like she was trapped in a body that wouldn't move the way her brain wanted it to move. Her rigidity was so severe that she often couldn't prepare her own breakfast and had to wait for her daughter to arrive and help her. Margaret started the protocol in June of 2023. Within 2 weeks, she noticed her morning stiffness was noticeably improved. By day 30, her morning rigidity had decreased by approximately 70%. She was able to prepare her own breakfast, get dressed independently, and start her day with much greater ease. But what surprised Margaret most was an unexpected benefit. She had suffered from chronic constipation for years, a very common non-motor symptom of Parkinson's that affects up to 80% of patients. The combination of ground flaxseed providing fiber and omega-3 fatty acids, plus the overall anti-inflammatory effects of the protocol, dramatically improved her bowel function. She went from having a bowel movement every 4 to 5 days with significant straining and discomfort to having daily bowel movements with minimal difficulty. This might seem like a small thing to someone who doesn't live with Parkinson's, but for Margaret, it was life-changing. Chronic constipation contributes to medication, malabsorption, abdominal discomfort, and reduced quality of life. Resolving this issue amplified all the other benefits she was experiencing. James is a 58-year-old businessman diagnosed with young-onset Parkinson's just 3 years ago. His rigidity was moderate but steadily worsening, and his biggest concern was maintaining his ability to work. His job required significant travel, long meetings, and presentations to clients. The increasing rigidity was making business travel exhausting, sitting through long meetings uncomfortable, and his reduced arm swing and stiff movements were becoming noticeable to colleagues and clients in ways that made him self-conscious. James started the protocol in August of 2023. He was initially skeptical, describing himself as someone who didn't believe in natural remedies and only trusted traditional medicine. But he was willing to try anything that might help him continue working at full capacity. By day 15, James noticed that sitting through 2-hour meetings was no longer causing the severe stiffness and discomfort he had been experiencing. His rigidity scores improved by about 55% over the 30-day period. But what impressed James most was the improvement in his energy levels and mental clarity. He had been experiencing cognitive fog, difficulty concentrating, and afternoon fatigue that made the second half of his workday significantly less productive than the mornings. The improved sleep quality from the tart cherry juice, combined with the anti-inflammatory effects and optimal nutrient support, dramatically improved his cognitive function and energy levels. He reported that he felt mentally sharp throughout the entire day for the first time in over a year. James has now been following this protocol for 9 months, and he remains fully active in his career with no plans to reduce his work schedule. Linda is a 64-year-old yoga instructor who was devastated when Parkinson's began stealing her ability to do the thing she loved most, teaching yoga. Her rigidity made the flowing movements of yoga increasingly difficult, and she had reluctantly retired from teaching 6 months before coming to see me. Her rigidity scores were moderate, not as severe as Robert's, but the impact on her specific activities was profound. Linda started the protocol in September of 2023. By day 20, she felt confident enough to attend a yoga class as a student for the first time in almost a year. By day 30, her rigidity had improved by approximately 65%, and she had regained enough flexibility and fluid movement that she decided to start teaching again, initially just one beginner class per week. Linda told me that this protocol gave her back not just physical mobility, but her sense of identity and purpose. She's now teaching 3 classes per week and practicing yoga daily. She describes the protocol as having opened a door she thought had been permanently closed. These 3 additional stories illustrate an important point. The benefits of this protocol extend beyond just rigidity reduction, although that's certainly the most measurable outcome. People experience improvements in sleep quality, energy levels, cognitive function, mood, bowel function, and overall quality of life. This makes sense when you understand that Parkinson's is a systemic condition involving widespread inflammation, oxidative stress, and mitochondrial dysfunction. By addressing these underlying processes, you create improvements across multiple domains simultaneously. Now let's discuss what to expect if you decide to implement this protocol yourself. First, be patient with the process. Robert's improvements didn't happen overnight. The first week brought modest changes. The really dramatic improvements emerged in weeks 2 through 4 as the anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective effects accumulated. Some people notice benefits sooner, others take a bit longer. Give the protocol a full 30 days before deciding whether it's working for you. Second, keep a detailed daily journal just like Robert did. Measure specific, objective outcomes like time to complete morning routines, time to button a shirt, subjective rigidity ratings at different times of day, sleep quality, energy levels, and mood. Having objective data helps you recognize improvements that might otherwise go unnoticed because they develop gradually. It's also valuable information to share with your neurologist so they can see how well the intervention is working. Third, be consistent. Consume the drink every single day at approximately the same time each morning. Consistency matters enormously with nutritional interventions. Your body's biochemistry responds to sustained, repeated signals. Sporadic implementation will produce sporadic results at best. Fourth, maintain realistic expectations. This protocol is not a cure for Parkinson's disease. It's a powerful, supportive intervention that can significantly improve symptoms and quality of life, but it doesn't stop disease progression entirely. You'll still need your medications. You'll still need regular follow-up with your neurologist. You'll still need physical therapy, exercise, and other components of comprehensive Parkinson's management. But this protocol can be a game-changing addition to your overall treatment approach. Fifth, if you don't notice significant improvements after 30 days, don't automatically assume the protocol doesn't work for you. Consider whether you're using high-quality ingredients, whether your timing is optimal, and whether other factors might be limiting your response. Some people need to address additional nutritional deficiencies, optimize their medication regimen, or implement other lifestyle modifications before they can fully benefit from this protocol. Work with a knowledgeable healthcare provider who can help you troubleshoot and optimize your approach. Now, I want to address the cost and accessibility of this protocol because I know that's a concern for many people. Parkinson's often affects people who are retired or on fixed incomes, and medical expenses can already be overwhelming. One of the beautiful things about this intervention is that it's remarkably affordable, especially compared to the cost of additional medications or more aggressive medical treatments. Let's break down the approximate monthly costs. Pure Montmorency tart cherry juice costs roughly $15 to $20 per month, depending on where you purchase it and what brand you choose. High-quality turmeric powder costs approximately $10 to $15 per month. Black pepper is essentially negligible in cost, perhaps $2 to $3 per month at most. Ground flaxseed costs about $8 to $12 per month. Whey protein isolate is the most expensive component at approximately $30 to $40 per month for a high-quality product. Adding it all together, you're looking at roughly $65 to $90 per month total, or about $2 to $3 per day. For context, that's less than the cost of a single cup of premium coffee from a coffee shop. For many Parkinson's patients, the improvement in quality of life and symptom control provided by this protocol far exceeds what you might achieve by adding another prescription medication, which could easily cost several $100s per month, even with insurance. Now, before we wrap up, I want to share some important information about additional supportive strategies that can amplify the benefits of this protocol even further. First, regular exercise remains absolutely critical for Parkinson's management. The nutritional intervention we've discussed provides your brain with the raw materials it needs to produce dopamine and protect neurons, but exercise provides the signals that tell your brain to maintain and strengthen neural pathways. Research consistently shows that people with Parkinson's who exercise regularly, particularly with activities that challenge balance, coordination, and aerobic capacity, have slower disease progression and better quality of life. Aim for at least 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity exercise. This might include brisk walking, cycling, swimming, dancing, tai chi, or boxing programs specifically designed for Parkinson's patients. Second, prioritize sleep quality. We've already discussed how the tart cherry juice in this protocol improves sleep through its natural melatonin content, but you can further optimize sleep by maintaining consistent sleep and wake times, creating a dark, cool sleeping environment, limiting screen time in the 2 hours before bed, and addressing sleep disorders like sleep apnea if they're present. Quality sleep is when your brain clears out cellular waste products and performs critical maintenance functions. Chronic sleep deprivation accelerates neurodegeneration. Third, manage stress effectively. Chronic stress promotes inflammation and oxidative stress, exactly the processes we're trying to combat with this nutritional protocol. Find stress management techniques that work for you, whether that's meditation, deep breathing exercises, time in nature, creative hobbies, or social connection with supportive friends and family. Fourth, maintain social engagement and cognitive stimulation. Social isolation and cognitive decline often accompany Parkinson's, creating a vicious cycle where symptoms worsen partly because people withdraw from activities that would actually help protect brain function. Stay socially connected, pursue mentally stimulating activities, learn new skills. These activities promote neuroplasticity and help maintain cognitive function. Fifth, work with a healthcare team that takes a comprehensive approach to Parkinson's management. You need a neurologist who stays current with the latest research and is willing to consider evidence-based, complementary approaches alongside conventional treatment. You benefit from working with a physical therapist who specializes in Parkinson's to address movement difficulties. You might benefit from occupational therapy to optimize your ability to perform daily activities. You might benefit from speech therapy if you're experiencing voice or swallowing difficulties. Parkinson's is complex enough that managing it well typically requires a team approach. If this video has provided you with hope or useful information, I want to invite you to become part of our Beyond Parkinson community. Living with Parkinson's presents unique challenges that only people who experience them truly understand. When you subscribe to this channel, you gain access to weekly videos covering evidence-based strategies for every aspect of Parkinson's management, from specific exercises for different symptoms to nutritional interventions like the one we've discussed today, from medication optimization strategies to emotional and cognitive health support. Our community members in the comments share their experiences, offer encouragement, and provide the kind of peer support that can sustain you through difficult times. Subscribing's simple. Just click the subscribe button below this video, then click the notification bell so you're notified whenever we publish new content. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. Every small step forward matters. We're here to help you take those steps and celebrate your victories along the way. Thank you for spending this time with me today. And I look forward to supporting you in your Parkinson's journey. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.